its finest. Yeah, okay, PCF1, top tier, PCF2, pretty good. But hell, let's get down to the gritty with PC tier 4. It's gonna be ferocious as we head to the greatest of Britons as we go to Silverstone today. And Luxy, it should be a battle as it has been every single race we have attended. There is something that's been not left on the table. It's all been fought.
I mean, absolutely. I'm just gonna say right now, Baku last week out, not great attendance, but the racing was sensational. We had an unlucky retirement from Scott Holmes. He was not able to win it. But it was a great fight, and Amos winning his first time this season. So both Williams boys are actually tied on points going into round 7. So that's going to be very interesting. They are on 166 points as a team and 83 points individually. That is substantial. The closest team to them, Hyper, is 70 points. So I think Williams have it in the bag, you could say, unless something goes terribly wrong in these next 4 rounds. I think we could probably say Williams have won the Constructors. The drives, on the other hand, it's still mighty close, especially between the Williams boys. And I mean, I can't wait for this race.
I genuinely can't wait as well. Even though the Constructors practically put into a Ziploc bag and thrown away into the abyss, you are right. The amount of opportunity that opens up for the rest of these drivers, it's still to play for. There's still so many question marks that are out there. So we've got to make sure it is finalized. So looking at Great Britain itself, what a track to do it on. Like, this is a track that we use as benchmarks quite often. I talk back to maybe 2020 when I was first racing and commentating for within the WOR scene, within the other rivalry scenes as well. And we kept using Great Britain as a lap, essentially the qualifying lap to define tiers. And I think it's beautiful to describe the balance of complexity with its corners, but also the straight line speed these cars can bring.
Yeah, absolutely. Silverstone always brings great racing. We're definitely going to see that today. We've got a quite stacked grid. And I think, you know what? I think we should go through the grid, actually. So, in the McLaren, you've got your 2 favourite people. It's Ryan Jacobs and Wilson Hall. They're back at it. And, I mean, they had a quite good race in Baku. Let's see if they could bounce back and score a double podium. That's one thing I want. I want to see McLaren get another double podium because you know what? I've seen how they're driving. They're absolutely rapid. They're not the only rapid people on the grid, but those 2 as a team, I mean, if they were sort of locked in from round 1, I think we could have had a really good fight between McLaren and Williams. But, I mean, they're still having a good fight as of now. In the Ferrari, you have Kevin and Jake Humphreys. Really good lineup there. Kevin actually got a P4 in Baku, which is his best finishing position so far this season. And surprisingly, he wasn't on the alternative strategy. So I want to see what he's going to be doing in today's race. In the Red Bull, you have Michael Heidrich and Herman Polakov. Yet again, they are back. I've missed them, and let's see, can they get higher than maybe a 7th? Could we see them in the top 5? That's something we're going to have to find out in today's race. In the Mercedes, you have Alex King and Ryan. Ryan, I think, had a quite unlucky race. I think he was near the bottom end of the order. Maybe mistaken. I don't know. We did have a few retirements. Everyone that finished the race got points. I'll just say that. So, not as stacked as a grid as we have today. In the Aston Martins, you have Alessandro and Red Mears. If you remember, Red Mears is absolutely rapid. I mean, just look back from round 1. He got a bit unlucky. He did DNF, but he was flying. He was making overtakes left, right, and centre. I think he was going to be able to do it today in Great Britain. Also, Alessandro, he was really cooking, especially in Kota. And I don't think he was racing in Baku. I may be mistaken. In Alpine, you have Lewis Welch and Luis. Luis, I mean, he went back-to-back for 4ths in his first and second race of this season. So I wonder, could we maybe see him back in that top 5? And also, Lewis Welch, we saw him race in Monaco. He was on a quite cool strategy. It just didn't really work out. And, I mean, he didn't finish where he wanted to. In the Haas, you have Jake Finch and Franzik. I can't say this name, so I'm gonna say this wrong. Franzik. I don't know. It's a weird one. It's got a Z in it. to me, as a British person, it's just awkward for me. I think Hyper can be on the same page. It's just very,
Yeah.
very tricky to understand, or just not understand, but just read. In the Racing Bulls, you have Christoph, Goddard, and Sinan. Christoph actually scored some points in Baku, which is absolutely wonderful for the Racing Bulls. In Williams, it's your two favourite TRT boys. It is going to be Gianluca and Amos. They are both race winners this season, and I bet we're going to see them go for a bit of a scruffle in these next 4 rounds. Like I said earlier, they are tied on points, which is something you got to love to see. And then in Kick Sauber, you have Scott Holmes and George Ansell. George having an amazing race in Spa, and Scott just getting really, really unlucky in Baku, getting a really unfortunate, weird game retirement. It was weird. Matthew Roberts, left the session with connection issues, and that sort of kicked Scott Holmes out of the game, and it retired him in the pits. It was weird. It was mucky, but it's just F125 EA shenanigans. It happens, but that is going to be the grid order for today's race. I'm very excited. Hyper, how are you feeling?
Oh, there's one name that's joined late,
Hmm?
and I tell you what, you stay well away from it. Dmitry Minik, ladies and gentlemen, is known to be so aggressive when he drives. He is known that he will stick his nose into a corner and not care about anyone else. The man could be placed down at the back of the grid and find his way to the front. He is a characteristically aggressive driver. He embraces that Max Verstappen mentality of not giving up and the young aggression that Max would normally put forward. And I love every time Dmitry Minik was on the racetrack, I love watching him. He just has an aura about him when he drives. So please do not disappoint after I've just hyped you up. But he is somebody you do need to keep an eye out on, because he will, as I said, he will dive bomb you perfectly.
Yeah, and Silverstone is one of those tracks though where you can go for those dive bombs, especially into turn 3. You can do it into the Vale chicane. You can do it into Brooklands Luffield. That's my favorite overtaking spot of this track, and we're probably going to see that a lot. Only one tricky spot is probably Maggots and Beckett's. We've seen these guys form trains quite often, and once those trains are formed after lap 2 and 3, overtaking sort of dies down with the sturdy air. You get so much dirty air, but when you're closer to a car, there's no added slipstream, so it's very tricky to overtake, especially out of Maggots and Beckett. You've got that long hanger straight going into Stowe, so I mean, we may see overtakes, we may not. It's going to be a 50-50 sort of thing. I'm hoping we see overtakes. I'm also hoping a wet race. That would be interesting. That would be lovely.
I want a more wet to dry or dry to wet. I want the transition. I want to see the challenge, and being the fact it's a British Grand Prix, the percentage, you have to think about the percentage in the game of the likelihood it can rain. Usually we race Britain in the summertime of Great Britain, but what is summer? Actually, let's sit down. Let's have a philosophical discussion for amongst us Brits. What is summer in Britain?
Yeah.
What do we categorize as summer? Because in my eyes, that is pouring rain, spitting rain, and then burning too much when the sun does actually come out.
Yeah, and we are in the lobby now, which is lovely and jubbly. And who's going to be first one out? Is it? I think it's George Ansell. So, you know what we do, ladies and gentlemen. First man out the pits gets the screen time for the first lap. I mean, I try to give everyone equal screen time, but if you're first one...
It's the rule. It's the rule. You have to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a race out the pits and qualifying, and you never know. Sometimes the pressure from being on screen is so much. We see the drivers actually fumble their qualifying laps, and that's the funny bit. That's the funny bit as a commentator, is you get to see the mistakes. And yeah, so George Ansell in the lovely green Kick Sauber will be the first one out, and then behind him you have Lewis Welch, if I am not mistaken. Yes, you do. Then I believe it is... Oh, I gotta work this one out. I believe it could Michael.
Be Christoph.
It's Michael, and then it's Mike. And then it's, no, not Alex King. It is Ryan in that 7th position. So, let's go back to George Ansell here. He's the first one. And just keep her out on the timing tower. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to miss a few people. We'll try get over them as well. One thing I do love about this game is the added of reverse tracks, because it gives you Hyper that sort of second POV of the track itself. When I drove the reverse Silverstone, there's so much elevation, and you don't realize it taking the layout we are using today, especially through Maggots and Beckett's. There's a weirdly a lot of elevation here.
There is quite a lot, and again, you know, the POVs that these drivers run on is what you see right now. It is this height, this level, so you don't think about it, but at the same time, elevation amongst these boys will not phase them at all, as we are going to see George Ansel start his hot lap as he first swings it through Abbey, then through Farm, before having to heavily brake, dropping down to third, fourth gear through Village, and then it's a slow, you want to push over the loop. The problem is, if you push too much, come entry, you can easily push the car over those white lines, or you get that oversteer kicking in. So there has to be that balance. But this is one of my favorite turns. But onto the brakes, you go through Brooklands, and then you swing it through Luffield. There's 3 different lines you can take through Luffield to propel you through Cops. Well, through the National Pit Straight of Woodcote, and then into where Max Verstappen got taken out by Lewis Hamilton through Cops. It's fast, it's furious, and you have to be brave not to lift. Now through Maggots, through Beckett's, through Chapels, you slowly press the brake every little bit, shifting down the gear, and then opening up. You get onto the hanger straight, you pelt it all the way through. Stowe, a lovely swing, but you could so easily allow understeer to push you wide to keep it within those white lines. And then finally into the final few corners as we go through Vale, and then finally through Club before touching the Hamilton straight. What's George Ansel got for us today? It's fast, it comes quick, it's a 25.4 as the benchmark.
Yeah, what a banker lap, to be really honest. I think we may see some people get into that 24. They get Lewis Welch crossing the line in that provisional P2 spot with a 25.921. And Michael Heidrich goes up to provisional pole by only 11 thousandths of a second there. That's a mighty lap from the Red Bull driver. Ryan slots himself in P3, Kevin in P4. And there you go, Franzik up to P1 with a 25.381. I actually think I've got high hopes that we're going to see 24s here. What do you think, Hyper?
I think 24s are definitely possible, but all I want to see is what can Dimitri Minik do? Put himself in position as Scott Holmes is closing in onto that top number. He's trying to get to those 24s. We watched Dimitri Minik. We put pressure, we put eyes on this driver, and now with that on his mind, probably if he is watching, he knows he has to perform. And so far, purple first, is a great way to start things off.
Yeah, absolutely. Making our way through my favourite complex of corners, Maggots and Beckett. It's all about keeping the car nice and stable as you throw the car through the left, the right, the left, the right. It's all about keeping the ballast, not scrubbing too much speed off as you make your way past on down to the hang straight through Stone now, just trying to breathe, just caress that inside curb, but he misses it by a mile. Goes a little bit deep on the exit now through the Vale chicane. It's very tricky. You got to keep that good throttle management round the final corner. Where is he gonna go? It's only P17.
Ooh, disappointment of that. There's got to be a mistake somewhere else, whether he did lift off for crossing over the line at Stowe because he's also caught on camera. And if you are found to exceed track limits, and though not penalized for it, you have to demonstrate you've at least lifted. So that might be a reason why we're seeing Dimitri Minik at the 26s. I know there's more in that driver. I know there's more potential. So provisionally, Scott Holmes, we know he's aggressive. We saw what he did in Kota. Remember, when decided, let's go for an extra pit stop. He can fight amongst the mid-pack and move his way up. This is a perfect track for him to do another story. But if he can do it in first, sky's the limit.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, Ryan Jacobs there in that P3 spot. That is very lovely to see. I was hyping him up earlier, so it's quite nice to see that one of the McLaren boys are in the top 5. Wilson Hall, though, he's not far back. It's only 3 tenths behind his teammate, or you could say 2.5. So, I mean, it's Silverstone. It's one of those tracks where most of these drivers have not just, you know, an hour or two, but these guys have probably hundreds, if not, I'm not going to say thousands, but, you know, maybe 300,
thousands.
maybe thousands, depends how long they've been playing the F1 games. But, you know, they have so many hours on this track. They should know it ins and outs, you know, that a little bit of a setup tweak here and there, you know, just to find that 10th or 2. But I think qualifying, this is going to be one of the, if not the closest qualifying we're going to see all season long.
Luxy. If these guys do not have 1,000 hours put into this game, then what Adderall are they having? What Calpol are they drinking? Because there is no way that only 100 hours can you be this quick. I'm sorry, but if pros amongst other games are spending 6,000 hours to get good, and that's practically 6 years of their life, 1,000 a year, it's very easy for these guys to already crack at least the minimum 500s, let alone the thousands.
Yeah, I get that, to be able to honest, and also Alessandro has joined us, so we may have a 20-car grid going into this race, which will be very exciting, because I believe this is maybe our 3rd or 4th time with a full stacked grid, so that it's either going to be absolute mayhem or absolute cinema, or it could be both. As you can see, Ryan, we'll give him some screen time as he is the first man out for the second runs. He's provisional P11 now. He's not far behind P8, though. He's not even far behind George Ansel in P7. So, I mean, a 10th of improvement moves him up to P8. So, I mean, there's a lot of time to find in this lap. Thank you. And let's just see what he can try and pull off here. As he makes his way through the final corner as of now, down towards the start-finish line. Now, one thing I want to talk about turn 1, it's so bumpy, you got to turn in so soon, and as you can see, cut as much as you possibly can. It gets you nice and centered, it gives you that nice line so you can stay nice and tight, and open up that turn 3, then you open up turn 4, of the loop. Now, you try get on the power as soon as possible as you make your way through Antry, down this long Wellington straight, down towards my favourite complex, as well as yours, of Brooklands Lovefield. Try and cut as much of the inside curb as you possibly can, because it does tighten on the exit, a purple sector in that middle, in that purple first sector. That's what I meant. Now, making our way through Woodcote, down towards the famous Flat Cops corner. Easily done. Down a gear as well, and you can just see, you know, they try and come over as soon as possible to open up Maggots. And now Beckett's, and I mean, just look how aggressive he's going over the curbs. He's took too much, and he's invalidated his lap. Oh my, Ryan, you were absolutely 2 tenths up, and you've bottled it at the start or middle section of Maggots and Beckett's. That is not ideal. And I think the next man who's actually closest out on track, if I'm not mistaken, is Scott Holmes, who's actually almost a 10th up here. So could we see already on the second runs those 24s? Yeah, 2 tenths up, purple in that middle sector. It might happen. Oh my.
It very much can. Scott Holmes hunting for pure victory, and that's all he wants. Keeping it clean through the exit of Stowe. That's the hardest. I think of all the corners, Stowe is the hardest to nail correctly, and then the technical, slowly build that pressure, build that speed.
There we go.
24-9, we are dropping into the 24. Scott Holmes has done it once again in terms of pushing the boundary of the car. Can Ansel join him? No, only a tiny improvement. Has to keep in P4 though, so not too much, but there's still plenty of drivers that can jump up the field. Minik needs to definitely upgrade himself. 126.0, a whole second behind the leader, and a driver that is, his race pace is absolutely sterling. There is no doubt that Dimitri Minik's race pace is up there. However, that qualifying's got to match.
Yeah.
Oh, Lewis Welsh just quickly jumped to P5 as well.
Oh, that is absolutely wonderful from the 5 tenths improvement in 1 lap. That is substantial amount of time. And I would watch Ryan Jacobs, but Wilson Hawks just overtook Alessandro there. Alessandro is on a outlap. That makes sense now. But 2/10 up is Wilson Hall. This would put him into the 25 threes. Could he maybe outpace his teammate as of now? This early on, or you could say midway through qualifying, as he makes his way.
Oh, it was a little
Very
stutter.
slidey. He lost so much time there. 2,000 away from Jake Humphreys. Ryan Jacobs crossed the line. He did find a little bit of improvement, but not much. He doesn't move up a position. He just remains in that provisional P3 spot.
Wilson Hall, too much power on the exits. It is so unfortunate. Club catches you out. And we say how soft you have to be on the throttle of Club, because as you're starting to rotate the vehicle, you're turning around the corner, and too much throttle with the torque of these cars, immediately with steering lock, that rear end kicks so much. So you saw the way he had to counter, had to stop that rear end going, losing him plenty of time. That could have been a top 3 drive, but a little too impatient.
Yeah, I mean, Vale is one of those corners, though. You hit the curb wrong, wheel spin. You get too early on the initial getting on the power, and, you know, wheel spin. You know, Vale is so tricky, but it's one of those corners where once you nail it, you feel like, oh, I like that. You know, it's the same with Stowe. It's like, it's really tricky because you don't want to scrub too much speed. You want to try and take it as fast as possible, but there's the, you know, the danger of going too wide, getting the track limits. So once you get it perfect, you're like, that's nice. I need to do that constantly. And, you know, again, though, you can get wheel spin outside of Stowe. I've done, it may just be a skill issue from me, but I've personally got wheel spin out of Stowe. I mean, yes, it was the wet, but still, you can get wheel spin practically anywhere, fast or slow corner, because, I mean, it depends if you're lifting or not. That's what I'm going to say. I may be completely wrong. I may be completely yapping. I'm very tired, you know. So, it was my first day, my first proper day at college today. I am absolutely shattered, I will say. So, oh, I forgot.
Isn't first day supposed to be fun and games?
No.
I swear it's supposed to be.
Oh, hell no. No, nowhere near fun and games. I was there for an hour, and my lecturer was just going on and on about the expectations.
Oh, you chose the wrong college then. I had fun and games on my first day, but to be honest, I'm 25 now, so I'm way past those days. Anyway, back to the race itself. Well, I say the race. Qualifying as we start to go final runs, the do or die moment. And right now, Scott Holmes absolutely dominating the timing board. 2/10 quicker than Gina Luca. That is a huge advantage to have off the get-go. Look at that. Please keep this timing screen on board, producer, because this is a lot nicer to view. 0.22 seconds quicker. And then Ryan Jacobs 3/10 behind. It is amazing to see. There's still a lot of margins, though. Look further down. Look how close everything is. Just a small, even a hundredth of a second, thousandths of a second could jump someone up a drastic number of positions. So we'll see what comes through. But Sinan comes forward and is going to be the first driver, as we like to say, take over the screen time.
Yeah.
For the coming lap.
And I mean, yeah, like you said, we were expecting this, you know. These guys have 500 to 1,000 hours on this one track. There you go. Scott Holmes, you could say it's an ego retirement. You could just say he's quite confident that he's got a pole position, or he may not have pole, but he's probably got a front row seat, you could say.
It's too confident. I'm going to jump in. I think that's too confident. All it takes is one small, little adjustment from any of, I would probably say, the top. I'd go down to the top 10. And there could be a drastic change.
Yeah, absolutely. But here we go. Sinan on his final lap of today's round 7 qualifying. And, I mean, let's just see what he can do. He's down the bottom end of the order. P19 as of now. Now,
understeer.
Very understeer. He's flicking so much. Wheel spin on the exit of turn 4. That is not ideal. Hey, it's one bad sector, doesn't define the lap though, but there he goes. Yes, he's Well, now it is. He's backing out. He's allowing George Ansell to go through, who's on an outlap. So let's look at Alex King, who's down into P17 as of now. He is 7/10 behind Scott Holmes, the man on pole, but he does not get wheel spin out of turn 4. So through entry, he will go nicely flat. DRS flap is now open. What is that sector 1 split going to be? It's 69,000 or 69, yeah, 69,000 improvement. So, I mean, keep going like that. That's 3/10 improvement more maximum, and that puts you nicely in the top 10. So, I mean, already one good and nice sector from Alex Kinder. What can he do through Sector 2, though? That's always going to be the question. I mean, Luffield and Brooklands, if you don't take it right, it could be a make or break. Same with Maggots and Beckett. If you cut too much, if you don't cut enough, you take too much track. It's all those things that are going through these drivers' minds of, did I do that right? Now, Sector 2 split. He's found 3/10 in only 2 sectors. What can he do in the final sector here? Alex Kim is on a lap of a lifetime. Through Stowe he goes. He goes a little bit deep, but it seems all fine. He may have lost maybe half a tenth at most. Flicks it through the Vale chicane. He's got an Aston there.
Traffic!
Ooh.
Traffic!
Is that going to hinder him? Round the final corner he'll go. And it's only P. Oh, we lost. He lost.
He got hindered.
Oh, that is not ideal. Oh, it's not even, I don't even think it's the Aston's fault. I think it's just wrong place, wrong time.
It really is. The Aston, he will get penalised, though. The Aston Martin will be penalised for impeding a driver, no matter the situation, no matter what happens. He is responsible for being on track, and he must make room. Again, just a timing problem on his behalf.
Lewis
but we look at Wilson Hill.
P2.
Wilson Hill through the final corner. Again, tickle that throttle, get to the exit as quickly as you can. It is not an improvement. That's not going to help. Can Ryan Jacobs make a small improvement on himself? Is able to find P2, gets close, but no cigar on his side. How about Frankenzek? P4 is an improvement as well, but there's still a load more drivers to go. Gianluca, he too rounds the final corner. Can he jump up? He finds P2, front row for him for the Williams, and continues their beautiful streak. The Ferrari of Kevin West jumps up to P12. Few more drivers to go. George Ansell only stays P7. How about Ryan? Can he jump up and can find P8? Great improvement. Now come Christoph Gorda. Rounds that final corner. Any improvement from himself? No. Now it leaves Dmitry Minik and Lawrence left on track. Is there anything from Lawrence? P8 says thank you very much. Dmitry Minik invalidates, and a poor performance. 6/10 behind. I am surprised by his performance.
Oh my, look at that top 5 though. 2/10 separate P5 and P1. That's the type of qualifying we want to see. Race in, race out. Just cinema. That's all I'm going to say. Like you said, a little bit disappointed from Drumi. Oh my god. Drumi. Why can't I speak today? You know, like, but you said he has...
Dmitry Minik?
Yeah, you said he has race pace. We're going to find out now. Let's see how many positions he can get during today's race. Let's have the chat decide. You know, let's have the chat guess. What do you guys think Dmitry is going to gain on positions in today's race? Do you think it's going to be more than 10? Do you think it's going to be less than 10? What are we sort of thinking? You never know.
It could go either way.
It could go either way.
100% could. Dmitry, as much as I hype him up, there is also this yin and yang to him. The one days he could be absolutely amazing, dominant, and does everything by the book perfectly. But then there are some days where he is just overdriving that car. He does make a whole load of mistakes that come from it. So he's aggressive. That's all I know. That's all I can say about him. It could be a blessing, but it could also be a curse.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the sky looks grey. I'm looking dead center right above that pit ceiling, and that looks like a very grey cloud. I have a feeling we may see some sort of rain at some point in this race, Hyper. This could be very interesting.
I want it. You know, I said it at the start of this. I'm for it. If this goes and changes conditions from a dry to a wet, I'm for it. I'm gonna love it. It's gonna feel amazing to have that uncertainty. But for the drivers, of course, that then adds a level of complexity. These guys will already know. They will know what the weather conditions are. They would have planned their setups according. Are they setting up their car for the dry? And if it's a full dry race? Or have they played tactical? Maybe they're looking to set up their car for a latter stage where the rain does start to come down. Or is this just British weather where it's just going to be cloudy?
Could be that as well. You never know. You really never know with British weather. I mean, I was walking home from college today. It started raining. 5 seconds later, it stopped. So, I mean, you just can never know with the UK weather. And I would actually say this is one thing EA's done very well is unpredictability when it comes to Silverstone and the weather. That's one thing I like that EA've done. And it's probably the only good thing they've done about this game.
Oh, a bit harsh. Only good thing is just the weather.
Yeah.
Well, credit where credit's due. They have definitely made this game to be as entertaining as it is. But as we wait for the drivers to start the lights, as 5 lights does go onto your screen. They turn off, and we're racing here at Silverstone, and already you can see the Williams trying to push that Kick Sauber out wide. As Scott Holmes will lose that initial battle, but he will have the outside line. But the Williams will dive to the inside. Gianluca will find traction, but it's Scott Holmes who will have the upper hand while we get to the straight, the Wellington straight, and immediately the Williams of Gianluca has to dip in behind. So we look down towards Brooklands before the overtake can come through. As Gianluca will pull to the side. He has a look, but he doesn't go for it. We're seeing a bunch load of overtakes go down as Ryan tries to get close, but immediately a full-blown safety car to kick things off.
Oh my. I'm getting... Oh, what's happening here then with P4, 2, 3?
Gianluca, what's happening?
What is happening? As of now, Christoph Goddard has left the session. I think it's only a virtual safety car, but my oh my. I'm getting flashbacks. So Espanol. Oh, I can't remember what round it was. I think round 3. I'm just getting flashbacks. We had Carnage coming out of turn 3. We had Carnage coming out of entry. And we're back to green flag racing. And look at the gap Scott has over the rest of the field.
What a jump!
What a jump as well.
Gianluca, that was beautiful, capturing Ryan Jacobs napping, and he took the position back instantaneously. What a move. Whether that was coordinated or not, it was beautiful, but the gaps had opened up, and now Gianluca has to close down that 0.6 second lead that Scott Holmes was able to pull away.
Just... I'm speechless about what's just happened on that lap 1. Scott leads the way from Gianluca, who leads the way from Ryan Jacobs. And then you've got Lewis Welch in behind. And Amos rounds out that top 5. So, it's quite spicy in this top 5. You've also got George Ansell just on the outskirts there, not far behind Amos. So, could we see both Williams in the top 3? Could we see both Kicks? It's all to play for. One thing I want to talk about, Dimitri's already up to P15, and you've got Wilson Hall down to P16. So it's ideal for someone, and it's not ideal for someone else. Just classic racing.
The start chaotic as the strategies does come onto the screen, but we still run that question mark. Look at the sky. How grey that is becoming. When's that rain gonna fall? If that rain is gonna fall. This sounds like the 2025 season of real F1. When, if, what's gonna happen is the question mark that we are seeing. But we're seeing right now, Ryan Jacobs is pulling out of the slipstream. He's trying to preserve those tires for later on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time we've seen him do it. He's one to be sort of... I wouldn't say he goes long, but he does try and stretch out his tyres as much as he can. Tries to get that sort of, you know, sort of more favourable of tyre coming near the end of the race. He wants to be the one on that fresher compound as he actually tries to get his nose in, looking for a move on Gianluca. He can't get it done, though. Gianluca shoves the door close, and now making our way down towards Lovely, lovely Brooklands and Lovefield. Will we see a move in the making? I don't think we will. The gap is not far. You can see Ryan Jacobs on the back end of the Williams here. A few different alternate lines. Also, George Ansel in the background. They're looking for a move on Jan-Lucas' teammate Amos. It's getting spicy here, and I do like that.
Oh, look at this. Ryan Jacobs, again, he has brilliant traction. And that's something we're seeing as that's wide. That's going to allow an opportunity for Ryan Jacobs to go side by side through Maggots and Beckett's. Oh, this isn't a place you want to be fighting through. But Ryan Jacobs has to concede. Oh, wipe my brow because that got a little too heart-pounding. And Ryan Jacobs, he's hungry. He wants something, but he's trying to remain patient.
That's the sort of type of race we want to see. You know, yes, we're at the start of the race, and yes, you may want that track position early on, but Ryan Jacobs was like, if we commit to this, we're going to maybe lose out loads of time on Scott. I'm going to back out. I'm going to live to fight another day, and fight another day he will. Will we maybe see him move in the next coming few laps? He's not far behind Jan-Luca. We're coming towards a more favourable overtaking opportunity. As you can see, Lewis Welch really late on the brakes here. Going into turn 3, he's just, again, too far back going into turn 4. It's one of those corners where you need to try and be side by side early on if you want a sliver of hope to try and get a move. Do we see Ryan Jacobs? He's close enough for a send. He's just going to slot in behind. Just really smart racing from everyone. And George Ansel, MP6, not really getting much pressure from Lawrence in behind. Still keep your eye on it, though, as Ryan on the back end of Franzique in that P8 spot. If I get that name wrong, I'm sorry. It's just so weird for me to say. Up near the top, though, Scott Holmes is just, he's calm, he's composed. I mean, you can just tell he's been league racing for ages. I mean, he's very comfortable leading the race, to say the least.
Lexi, can we just make a point here? Something we haven't addressed at all. While all the drivers look like they're about to overtake everybody, no one's broken the second gap. So we are talking about a DRS trade from first all the way to 16th while we're just capturing Wilson Hill. Okay, round the outside of Stowe. That's a pretty interesting place to go for an attack. But still, first to 16th, all within a second, which if you play the bigger picture, means that everybody has a shot at the win here in very weird cases.
Yeah, and let's talk, maybe that's why, looking at the tyres, everyone's on the same strategy. So yeah, you're not wrong there, Hyper. Everyone has a chance at a win. It's just sort of, when do you go for the overtakes? Because track position now is going to be so important, especially when we come towards lap 12, where that's probably going to be the more favourable pit stop with a lap. So, you really want to be in the high positions, better track position, and you'll have a better chance of the win. So, someone like Dimitri, oh, Scott really wobbly on the XL of Stowe there. That's not going to be good for the tyres whatsoever.
Definitely, clearly not a track limit violation there. Clearly not, extra road, right?
Yeah. He took the run.
Extra bits. But no, Scott Holmes will definitely get a track warning regarding that. And yeah, it's not going to help his tires. The design of this game, making those runoffs dusty, horrible. So it will take a few laps before he finds full grip once again. You have to remember that he's punching a hole in this entire train. Yes, he's going to have cleaner air. His tires are not going to degrade in the same way, but he's still having to work harder. So it's that way up of, does it actually benefit you as Gianluca starts to close in? And once again, you can see that there's that mindset of, I could lunge this guy, but how much would I lose from this?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing you said there is he's punching the hole for the rest of the field. Indeed, he is. Now, one thing that's playing in the back of my mind is, does he maybe want to stop leading for a few laps? Let someone else take control of the pack and just try and save battery. Try and preserve those tyres, because when you're leading, you've really got to push the car, So maybe does he want to do what they do in Formula E of no one wants to lead? Obviously because of their energy consumption. So does he maybe want to back off, let Jan-Luca lead for a few laps and then retake the lead? We know he's an aggressive driver. we know he likes to put a lot of pressure on the tyres, so preserve them. Go for overtakes near their later stage of your stint, and then, you know, be near that top and be leading the way in towards the pits. That could be the strategy here for Scott, or he could just do what he's doing right now and lead from start to finish.
I think if this was PC Tier 1, absolutely. I would agree with that idea. You got your race engineers sitting with you. You can both kind of do what we call overtake to overtake. So you start overtaking each other, use the natural DRS and slipstream to pull ahead. We saw that with the virtual Grand Prix that were given in 2010. We saw how, I think it was Alex Albon and I think it was George, they were doing it amongst each other, and they demonstrated that strategy, which then became a thing for the rest of 2020 racing game, and then followed up into the 21. Nowadays, we're not seeing it as much, so I think, yes, there is potential behind it, but you'd need so much coordination that it would work. But there we go. It's done and dusted. Gianluca, he said he had enough. He wants the lead of the race. He takes the lead of the race, and Scott Holmes now has a chance to recharge that battery and just allow Slipstream to build it back up.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, keep your eye out on Ryan Jacobs in behind. I swapped to Ryan Jacobs there as Gianluca went for the move because he dropped that. He just slots himself out of the slipstream on these straights, and I like it. I like how Ryan Jacobs thinks he's doing that to sort of preserve the tyres, like you mentioned before. Also, can I just say, Lewis Welch is having an absolute amazing race so far. I mean, we've only seen him race one time so far this season, which was Monaco, and
Ryan Jacobs, Scott Holmes going again.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
retaking the lead into Stowe.
And also in behind, George Ansel and Amos are side by side. This is getting really spicy now.
Unlucky for George Ansel, but he is going to try and look to the exit as well. He's got himself so close behind the Williams. There might be a lunge into Village if he could just stay close. No, the gap's pulled away. There was opportunity. There is hope, and there might still be hope if he dive bombs it down the inside.
Yeah.
No surprise.
All
a little too
really
professional
close on the Williams there. Also, line variation for turn 4. George Ansel could have took a wider line, get better exit. He does. He is closing the gap towards George Ansel here. I mean, towards Amos. Just not able to get close enough for a send into Brooklands. But that move into Vale, really, or into Stowe, I'll say, is, or exit of Stowe is, George Ansel wants to get a move on. He wants to move himself up towards the top 5, maybe top 4, maybe even top 3 if he's feeling like that. So, could Amos sort of play this to his cards? George Ansel may be looking for a few cheeky dives here and there. Use that to your advantage, I would say. Also, Dmitry Minik there, getting a 3-second time penalty. The first person out of the whole field. Now, that's quite nice. You know, Silverstone, you normally see a few penalties here and there, but only one person has got a penalty in 8 laps. Also, we are still yet to drop DRS. I mean, Ryan Jacobs is the only one. Also,
you spoke too soon. You spoke too soon.
I spoke too soon.
Just dropped into it, but we have a few people dropping into the pits. Our race leader, Scott Holmes, Gianluca, deciding enough's enough. Let's get the pit going, and that's going to trigger a lot of people. Look how many are in. This will jump around once all drivers will go past. It is, there it is, Gianluca, Louis Welsh, George Ansel, Red Miz, Alex King, and Wilson Hall all pitting early on the start of lap 9. And if you're Scott Holmes, Ryan Jacobs, Amos, who now have free air to play with, this is going to get in your head. You're going to start thinking, right, I got to get my foot down.
Absolutely. Also, what is their sort of angle here? That's what I'm trying to work out. In my eyes, that's very, very early. Only 8 laps in. And we've already swapped to the hards. Now, I may be completely blinded and be like, and these guys probably know how good the hard tires are in this game. But I just don't know. Maybe it's a little bit early. We're going to have to find out. But you could, half the grid have boxed. That is round about, close to half the grid has already boxed. And will we see Scott go into the pits here? Which, I mean, he's coming towards the pit entry. Will he go in? Nope, he opts to stay out.
No,
What about Ryan
out.
Jacobs? He's going in.
Yeah,
Same
we've
with
got to keep an eye on
Amos.
Ryan. Got to keep an eye on Ryan Jacobs. See where he's going to come out in comparison to the rest of the grid. Remember, Gianluca about 13 seconds behind the 11th place driver. Amos with a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Our 4th place driver making a crucial mistake as we watch Gianluca, his teammate, hunt for the 2nd place position. It looks like the McLaren starting to drive. That pit lane is short, but it's slow as through and past goes the Williams. Gianluca has got the position.
Yeah. Oh my, but he's come out in front of George Ansell, so they've got a 1-lap undercut. Ryan Jacobs. Oh, he's got George Ansell right on his rear end. George is really looking for a move. He just can't get it done out of the loop. And, I mean, after entry, you've really got to put it down towards the floor on the throttle. But also, 1.1 is the gap between Ryan Jacobs and Lewis Welch here. That's not good in my eyes. I mean, Ryan Jacobs have really got to put those new hard tyres to work. He's got to not only cut down the gap, but also try and defend from George Ansell, as where he is on track, he is provisional, or I would say he's like net P4, net P3. Really just depends where Scott comes out.
It's the undercut. That's the power of this track, is the undercut. But it looks like Scott Holmes is going for offset right now. Gianluca, if he's got the full map, we'll see. He will know that Scott Holmes has stayed out, but he won't know his timing just yet to the rest of the grid. So it is so vitally important that his race engineer or whoever is helping manage him keeps him informed.
Absolutely. As Luis and Dmitry Minik both in towards the pits. You can just see the Red Bull making his way slowly through the pit lane. Now, I believe Silverstone is one of the slowest pit lanes in the whole game. I think if you are on miles per hour, I believe it's 37. I think it's 50 kilometers through the pits. I may be mistaken. I don't know. No, it's 60. It's 60 kilometers. I'm a numpty. But Gianluca right now already in that P3. Also, Kevin. Oh, Kevin. He loves going for those long alternative stops. He likes starting on the hards and going to the mediums. He likes going along if he's on the same strategy as everyone else. And I wonder, it pulled off for him in Baku. Could he pull something out of the bag again today? We're going to have to find out. I can't remember where he was before the pit phase. Will we see Scott coming towards the pits? Yes, we will. So, where will Gianluca come? Will he be in front? Probably. As you said.
I think he will. The gaps between each other is not enough. This is a 25-second pit lane. And at the moment, it's only 21, 22 seconds as he entered into the pit lane.
He'll come
so
behind
this
his teammate.
It's going to be quite interesting how this turns around. But right now, Kevin Wust will get another few laps under his belt as he takes the lead of the race, as finally the pit stop completes for the Kick Sauber. But the Kick Sauber garage is right near the end. This could get quite interesting. A bitter onto the exit of the pit lane. No, nowhere near. And a matter of fact, it's a huge deficit. Scott Holmes loses 5 positions from it.
Yeah. And, yeah, like I said, he'll probably come out behind his teammate. And behind his teammate, he will. But Lewis Welch, during this pit stop phase, he's net bloody P2. He's got Ryan Jacobs breathing down the back end of his Alpine car, though. But I'm going to just say this. This undercut has worked beautifully for Lewis Welch, but he's really, really far behind Gianluca, which is not ideal. We have, if I'm not mistaken, 14 laps left to go. Could we maybe see a double stop from someone?
I think if anyone's going to do it, it would be someone amongst the mid-pack. Someone's going to go for a double, demonstrate, put on the mediums again, and play aggressive. Realistically, 50% races, you only want to do the 1 stop. You don't want to touch the 2 stop if you really don't have to. But here comes, round the outside of Stowe. It's brave, it's bold, but clean. Ryan Jacobs says, thank you very much. P3 is mine, and Lewis Welch's opportunity for a win just pulled away for the moment.
Yeah, I would just say for the moment. I mean, Lewis Welch, a renowned league racer, not only in WOR, but in other leagues as well. He's very known for being mighty quick, and mighty quick he is, as he is staying with Ryan Jacobs. Now, one thing no way, 1 lap tie difference is a massive pace difference, because I'm just seeing right now, Ryan Jacobs already putting on a quite hefty gap. The gap is now all 7/10 and it's increasing, so this is not ideal. But could Lewis Welch be struggling? The clouds look really grey. Could we see rain? I don't know.
It's gonna be late. If it's gonna come, it's gonna be late.
If it rains, it's gonna be lap 18 earliest, I would say.
18? We putting money down on it?
I don't have money to spend, so
everyone get onto stake. Let's go and do it. Let's put money down. We got the car here. We got the sponsors. No, I'm kidding. Please do not gamble. We are a friendly environment. We do not condone gambling.
Only gamble if it's
on the track.
Only gamble if it's Twitch channel points.
Yeah, but talking about gambling, how about getting so close up your teammate's rear end, you're almost screaming at them to get out the way? And how about just sticking with your teammate right ahead? This could be a lunge into the Vale chicane. Beautifully laid out, and also get to the exit as well. Scott Holmes, he needs to keep making these little overtakes here and there, because he's got that offset, and he needs to use it.
So, I don't think Lewis Welch was struggling. I just think Ryan Jacobs was pulling out a monster of a lap. The gap to Jan-Luca right now is a 1.5. And, I mean, Lewis Welch isn't far behind. He is still within DRS. And that send was absolutely nasty from Scott. It wasn't needed. I know he wants the track position, but it was a fantastic move, to say the least. Right down the inside. Perfect amount of space left from George Ansel. I mean, that's the sort of racing you see here in WOR. And, I mean, it's not the first time we've seen that clean of racing. And I'm flabbergasted from that move. And also, this gap is slowly coming down. The gap between Ryan Jacobs and Lewis Welch, though, is slowly increasing. So it could be good for Ryan Jacobs and then bad for everyone else. Scott really needs to try and get into the rear end of the Alpine in front and maybe even try and overtake to stay with Ryan Jacobs here, as he is absolutely flying away. The gap is increasing to Lewis Welch. The gap is dropping to Jan-Luca. Ryan Jacobs is on an absolute charge right now. This is what we love to see.
But how much damage is that putting onto his tires? Yes, he's going early. He's going fast. Right now, Jan-Luca controls the pace. He could be conserving and just have taken away that offset. A 1-lap offset isn't huge. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but still at the same time, it can make and break a difference. We're already at 1.2. We've been watching this time continuously go down, but you could see the tunnel vision that Ryan Jacobs had put forward. And I would say probably by the end of this lap, we will see Jan-Luca's lead disappear as the DRS will kick in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he loses a little bit on the corner entry, but then on the corner exits, he just gets loads and loads. You can just see, as of exit of left field, entry, it was 1.3. It is now 1.1. He's at the cusp. He can smell the DRS. And, I mean, what can he do through Maggots and Beckett's? Will he find all the time through there? You can see Lewis Welch going a little bit wide on the exit of Cops there in the background. But the man on your screen right is Ryan Jacobs, and he's flying through Maggots and Beckett's. He didn't gain as much as I thought he would. And one thing is, Lewis Welch is holding on for dear life. He's got Scott Holmes in behind. He's on a charge. He's going down the inside of Stowe. And it's a beautiful move from the man in the kick Sauber. Sensational. That's all I'm going to say.
Ryan Jacobs has made a mistake. He's gone back up to the point 1.3. There must have been an error on the exit of a turn, but now he's got the driver who has a large offset, a 2-lap offset, a 3-lap offset to the lead, 2-lap offset to the guy in second. The eyes are looking back at Scott Holmes. Maybe. We thought at first that staying out cost him 5 positions. He's 2 away from taking this lead, and the way he's driving, it's smooth, it's consistent, and his overtakes are calculated. They're not over aggressive. He's not losing time. The only possible aggressive one you could say was into Vale, but even then, he lost 2/10 and regained it so quickly.
Absolutely. Also, he gained a substantial amount of time on the braking alone in towards Luffield. That was, I don't know. I thought he was about to rear end Ryan Jacobs. It was that close. But also, Ryan Jacobs, if he can get within DRS of Jan-Luca here, I think he could probably defend from Scott. The only advantage Scott has right now is obviously the tyre difference, but also DRS.
Oh, he's going to do it. He's
going,
close enough to do it.
He's going to do it.
It's going to be a lunge down to the inside. He does try and force the McLaren to go wide. And just like that, one lap, he takes the Alpine. At second lap, he takes the McLaren. And now he starts to home in onto the Williams. The Kick Sauber, may it be in real life, has only seen the podium once as our great, loving German gets onto the podium here at Silverstone. But this time, it's the Brit of Scott Holmes who's already put himself into that second mark.
And he's already within DRS of Jan-Luca. I think this actually really helps Ryan Jacobs here. He's got better tyres than mostly everyone around him, apart from Scott. Right? If Jan-Luca can just hold off from Scott, defend him, Ryan Jacobs could be at a chance for a win here. This is the time where he now needs to start tyre saving. He was pushing and pushing and pushing. It was working wonders for him. He gained so much time. He even gained a position because of it. But now he needs to cool down. He's got a nice hefty gap to Lewis Welch in behind. Calm down. Get those tyres into a nice consistent tyre temperature area. Don't push them too hard. Get out of the slipstream when needed. And also, there's a lot of malarkey in behind as Dmitry Minik slow out of Luffield. Not ideal from the Oracle Red Bull standing driver. I don't know what happened. I think he had a little bit of wheel spin and maybe had a little bit of a tumble on the exit.
He was fighting. So Kevin Wurst got past Dmitry Minik, and then immediately Alex King was fighting in the background as well. And it was a tussle back and forth. Those timing boards kept flipping, but it must have been contact that forced them to slow down. And just like that, Kevin Wurst once again going for more overtakes. There's pace with the offset. There is clear, advantageous pace, and Kevin Wurst, who hasn't been necessarily a top form driver, but notorious for the offset strategy, is once again demonstrating he can put that Ferrari in the points.
Yeah, I think he could do it as well, you know. He's got 8 laps left to go. He's got enough. He can do it. I believe in you, Kevin. Make me proud. What you watch, we've just given him the commentator's curse, and he's going to have a tumble neck. He's going to have a tumble. Eggs of Luffield now. Oh, no. Well, I'm so sorry, Kevin, if you don't get top 10 here. But right now, let's focus on the front 3 and maybe even front 4. I mean, Lewis Welch, he's in for a fight for the win. It's, you could say, a 4-legged race. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but the 4-man race.
Overtaking opportunities in play. He's within the 3.5 tenths. He could go for it if he wants to lunge it. Remember, no DRS for the Williams. Goes to the inside, quickly switches around the outside. Has to be brave and bold there side by side. Now the Williams has to leave room. The Kick Sauber stays within play. He has to go for the lunge down on the inside into the Vale chicane. Starts with the switchback, but Gunluka just has no traction on the exit, and Scott Holmes, that move's been brewing for a while, and the Williams, who's been leading for the second half of this race, now has to look at the rear end once again.
Could this be quite shambles for everyone else? Scott here, he's got the tyre advantage over everyone, and he's leading the way. Alex King into the pits for a retirement. It's quite sad to see many retirements, but I understand people get angry. You know, something bad happens during the race, and, you know, sometimes it is just race ending. But also, Ryan Jacobs really on the back end of Jan-Luca here. Through Luffield we'll go. And look at the line variation. There's so many different lines, you know. Ryan Jacobs, he takes sort of a double apex sort of line. where some people like to just hold it close. Some people like to go for singular. I don't know. There's so many. This is what I love about Silverstone, right? There's so many corners with so many different line variations.
Ryan Jacobs just touched the grass. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No,
but
he
he
did.
Just lost
He
all that
understood because of it as
progression.
well. Not ideal. Really not ideal. And also, Jan Lucas just lost DRS.
There was an opportunity for Ryan Jacobs to actually go into the Wellington straight, the Hangar straight with an overtaking opportunity, but because he just touched the inside curb of Copse, I'm surprised actually he didn't go wide and experience a track limit violation. So hats off to Ryan Jacobs, great car control and keeping his foot down through it all. Will stay within the second, but the front runners spreading out now, and is this the wind down essentially as things start to be as they are?
Also, one thing I want to mention here is P6 to P10 here, very spicy. You've got both Hasses, you've got Ryan, you've got Amos, and you've got Michael Heidrich. It's very close between those guys. It's probably a lot closer than it is for this front 5 pack. Now, one thing I've got a question on is, when did Amos lose 6.7 seconds to the lead group? Bear in mind, it was P5 going into the pit stop phase. He's now P6, and he's massively far behind. What have I missed?
Broken second, and then from there, he's looking at his rearview mirrors. He's looking at Lorenz, and he is just, once you start defending, you slow down. And I can use my experience with Spa, where I got P7. I had a massive advantage. Admittedly, in this example, my tires were shot. The driver behind me tires were amazing, but I wasn't pushing as hard. I was focusing on positioning my car to defend for the driver behind. So that mindset starts to play when you have somebody behind you who's pressuring you. You don't go as fast. You're looking at lines that makes your car as wide as possible, not necessarily the quickest. And in doing so, Amos, well, that gap's just going to keep on growing. And if George Ansel as well, who's in P5, stays in that second mark, though he won't be looking behind, but he won't have that advantage to benefit him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to... Scott, he's done what he did in Monaco. He broke DRS, and he's just going to fly away. I mean, unless something happens...
Don't curse it.
It's not going to rain. It's definitely... Look at it. There's clear areas. I was hoping for rain, and the game has disappointed me yet again. I think we've only had rain once, and the only time I think we had rain was Monaco qualifying. I don't think we've seen rain any other time this season, and it's quite upsetting because personally I love watching rain racing. It is just absolute cinema.
Oh yeah, 100%. It could be very interesting. In terms of the overtaking, it's 50-50. You don't always get... Sometimes it can be a masterclass of overtaking. Sometimes not that interesting. It depends on what you get. But in terms of overtaking today, it has been thick and fast, this overtaking. The start of the race, full of it. But even the latter stages, as we see the drivers slowly work their way through the field, we're seeing this very high IQ and precise method of overtaking that isn't too dangerous and isn't over-exceeding the driver, the car's ability. So I love the level and the standards these drivers are putting up.
It is amazing. Ryan Jacobs really on the back end of Jan Luca here. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention earlier. Amos has 10 seconds. Now, he did speed into the pit lane, and I don't believe they get removed unless you got rear-ended into the pit lane. So, since he has that, he drops out of the point, which would then allow Jan Luca to retake, or not retake, obviously he's leading the championship, but he's tied with his teammate. So it's not ideal for Amos there. Also, a little bit of a rear end snap there going through cops from Jan Luca. I don't know if that was just me seeing things, but
It's a tiny one.
It was
It's all good.
but it can still hurt the thighs
Oh,
in a
look
way.
at the way he's driving, though. Sorry, I have to interrupt.
Yeah.
How defensive Gianluca is trying to swing that car. First of all, to make it wide, but to make the exit onto the stove straight is going to be huge. Down the inside, Ryan Jacobs plays aggressive, and that was a lunge. Ryan's been eyeing up that move for a while, and Gianluca knew it was coming. He knew the lap was about to happen, and he had to take Beckett wide so that his exit into Chapel and onto the hangar straight was faster. But no, that grip advantage is different.
Yeah. I mean, even the fact that it's one lap and it's just a massive grip difference. Now, that fighting also has kind of allowed George Ansel to just sniff that DRS for a moment there. I think he's actually got it. You know, let's actually look on the... Oh, I accidentally just clicked the wrong button. But yeah, the DRS flap is... I couldn't see. Silly... No,
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
It wasn't open.
8.
No, George Ansel's got a long way to go. 1.5. He's out of this front running pace.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we talked about Amos. He has actually served his time penalty, so he clearly knows that that's a mistake. You know, we talk about, was he bumped into there? Could he get it removed? No. He's going for the softs. He's looking for a fastest lap just for the S and giggles. And that's exactly what he will do. But we keep an eye for the front. It's a battle for P2. Because Ryan Jacobs hasn't pulled away. He's done the overtake, he's done the hard bit, but he's not finished it off.
Now, Oh, Lewis Welch!
Are these tires going?
2 laps to go, though.
What is the strategy? Lewis Welch, what's going on here? What do you know that we don't? Because we just saw that Amos went in for softs. Or are they at puncture territory? We know how high deg this track is. Think about the number of times. Think about previous WOR races that has led to punctures. Is this the safety net for Lewis Welch? Because he pitted so early to prevent punctures.
And that's what I meant earlier about, did they box too soon? I think Ryan Jacobs boxed at the perfect time. I mean, Scott probably boxed at the perfect time, boxing exactly on lap 12, which I did predict, by the way, guys. Just to say, I did predict that lap 12 will probably see a box, and Scott did it, and look where Scott is, guys. He's leading, so listen to Luxie and you'll win the race. That's what I say. But no, I think they just boxed away too soon. They boxed at lap 8, and then they tried to take hards to the end. I mean, Lewis Welch,
Lewis,
already
2
back in the
overtakes
points.
on 1 lap.
Okay.
There is a massive difference in terms of pace, so maybe there is some sound magic behind it as the car's out. Dimitri Minik.
It's
Dimitri Minik
too
on the
late
side of the
for
track.
a safety car, though. And another thing is Lewis... Oh, no, he's now gaining back onto Kevin. I mean, he won't. He could do it, but he won't. But if he could get with him, Kevin, that'll be masterclass.
I think that you could have done it. I think this is a crazy move. I understand it's protecting against the puncture, and now the front runners are playing that risky game. But on 2 laps to go, I would take the risk and reward, go for it. But Lewis Welch playing safe rather than being sorry. I'm baffled, absolutely baffled.
I'm speechless as well. You know what? This is what I love about League Racing. There are moments that surprise you, and Lewis Welch, you have knocked my socks off, as we say. Oh my! I did not expect him to box. We understand why he's done it, you know, protection and stuff. But now it's only a 2-person fight for P2 here. So we went from having a potential 4-man fight for the final 2 podium spots to only having a fight for P2. It happens. I just, you know, one thing I love to say is the more the merrier. I mean, it's fine. It happens. But Scott, he's done it again, man. If you are watching WOR and you want to know, and you're just getting into league racing, and you want to be like, who should I support? Support this man right here. He's about to become the first 3-time season 21 tier 4 racer. He's about to become a 3-time. No one else has done that. We've had multiple different race winners, but Scott's about to do it 3 times. And one thing I like to, there we go, Lewis Welch with the fastest lap. I think this, I get confused of who does fastest lap points and who doesn't. I believe WOR does. So I'm going to just say it. I may be wrong, but Lewis Welch, I think he gets the point. But we are on the final lap of the race, and I think unless Scott somehow, you know, has a wobble through Stowe and somehow ends up in the wall, I think
like
it's safe.
unlikely.
I think it's all what he, or something happens like what happened to Baku, where he randomly disconnects and then everything goes kaboomy. I think, yeah, he's definitely won it. As down towards the final 4, 5. I don't know if you count the little kink after this bit. I don't know if you count it as a corner. I don't, but the final 3 corners left of this race for Scott. He's not won it from start. He did not lead every single lap, but he has shown how fast of a driver he is. He's won for the 3rd time in WOR. It's Scott Holmes to take the checkered flag. Ryan Jacobs, he's got Jan-Luca in behind. Round the final corner we'll go. He's scored another podium, and Jan-Luca on the podium yet again. George Ansel for, I think, his 3rd or 4th race. He's in the top 5, and it's going to be Lorenz, then Ryan, and then Kevin, Franzik in P8, Michael Heidrich in P9, and Lewis Welch finding 6 seconds in a lap and a half, by the way. Well done, Lewis. I mean, it would be nice to see him in the top 5, but he finishes P10, and his teammate finishes P11. And Amos, I mean, it's just unlucky from Amos. I think he could have been a lot more competitive if he did not get that horrendous penalty. But what?
Well,
Sinan?
well, that was
Sinan? What? What? I think he got a puncture, by the way, Hyper. So I think you were right about someone would get a puncture. But oh my, that was an eventful race near some parts, and there is Scott doing his little dance as he makes his way towards the top step of the podium. It's a Brit, and it's an Italiano. And Jan-Luca, I mean, take a bow, man. Probably one of the most consistent drivers alongside Scott Holmes this race. And look at that, by the way. Kevin, most overtakes, cleanest driver. I mean, I didn't realise he made the most overtakes there. But fair play to Kevin. He's always known for being under my radar. But there is your top 5. There's your top 10. And there's your top 14, as you can see on your screen. Let's make our way down. You can see the rest of the people. We had a whopping 5 retirements. You know, it happens. No, we actually had more. No, Dimitri just was lapped. Okay, never mind. But let's go back to the camera scene, shall we?
What a race, though.
Yeah.
What a race. It definitely was probably one of the higher end races. A lot of uncertainty. The offset of tires, again, playing dividend in this series. Though you do have to see the risk and reward. Not every driver who did stay out longer benefited on the later end of the game because their offset wasn't as big. So, yeah, you know, we have to congratulate Scott on that massive offset that he put forward. But that's because he had that offset. He had the pace. He had the tires to benefit. But those who just went a lap later or a lap earlier didn't make much of a difference. So it goes to show you've got to play different to make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scott played different, and I mean, it proved well for him. It was a lovely race. I mean, this is the type of racing that you'll come to love and see throughout, you know, the remainder of the season and going on to season 22, which I'm very excited for. But that's a well into the future. But we have 3 races remaining in this season 21 calendar. I'm going to make sure to get that right and not say 24 again. And let me run you through the final 3 races that you will come to see in the next 3 weeks, as I don't think we have another week break. So for round 8, we will have a very, very lovely, there we go. Round 8.
Emilia Romagna.
Emilia
Romagna.
Romagna. And then round 9 will be Japan. We'll see you at Suzuka. I mean, WOR Tier 1, I think, went to Suzuka not long ago. Yeah, so, I mean, WOR Suzuka, I like that. I like that. And the final race will be at Yas Marina Circuit in the very lovely Abu Dhabi. Could we maybe see 2 people tied on points going into the final race of the season and have a little bit of maybe something like what we saw in Real Life 21? That could be very interesting, as Gianluca does take the lead in the championship over his teammate, who was unfortunately pointless, and also Scott gains a massive margin. So could it be a 3-person race for the championship? We're just going to have to see coming near the final the final penultimate round of Japan, as that race is going to really be the decide of how interesting Yas Marina will be. Do you have anything else you would like to say here, Hyper?
Honestly, the sum up of this entire race today was offset. I think that's the word of the day, is offset.
Yeah.
And it goes to show how powerful it was. It was great. It was entertaining. But also, I love the methodical overtaking we did see. Not too much recklessness. It was timed. It was calculated. And Stowe just continues to be a fantastic overtaking opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, it brought us some highlights, and I loved those moves that we saw from Ryan Jacobs, that we saw from Amos, that we saw from Gianluca, that we basically half the grids we saw make an attempt or make a great move into Stowe. And I mean, it's Silverstone. You're gonna see an amazing racing. You may not see it in real life, but you'll always see good racing here in WOR. And I don't have anything else to say. I think we shall let you go, guys. But arrivederci. Goodbye in Italian. And we will see you next for round 8 at Imola. And that's the reason I said arrivederci, because it's Italy. Ha ha ha. I'm very funny. But anyway, goodbye, guys. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and we will see you next week for round 8. Goodbye.